So what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Robert. This is your first time tuning in. So in today's video, we're going to cover a couple different topics, I guess, all relating to the same thing. And that's, why do we support getting into debt so much more than we do any kind of success or starting like a business? Again, my name is Robert. If you gain any value from this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So the reason I'm making this video is because I saw a post and it was this person with a $70,000-$80,000 truck, and in the post itself it included, why do we support, or why do we get more excited to show off our $70,000 to $80,000 worth of debt, and why do people just, comments are crazy, likes are crazy, why do we support that? That's what the post said. I was like, man, that's crazy to think about it like that, but yeah, it's a good way to look at it, right? Because we do, and I'm guilty of this as well. Once I started making six figures, I started doing that. I had a brand new Challenger, I had a brand new truck, and I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool until I started educating myself a little bit more on financial literacy, basically. And then I realized, what the freaking hell am I doing, man? Like, what am I doing? This doesn't make any sense. Now, how I was using the vehicles is the car was used to go to work because it was obviously better on fuel. I worked kind of far, and the vehicle, the truck, was used to work on land, ranch, and to go out to town. That's how I use the vehicles. But then I was like, man, is this really, really necessary? Is it really necessary to have two vehicles, to be making two payments? You have 8 sets of tires now to take care of. You have 2 engines to maintenance. You have 2 insurances. I just started doing all this stuff in my head. I was like, man, this doesn't make sense, right? So I started getting rid of stuff, and then that's when I kind of started transitioning to what I do today, which is mainly invest. I'm very, very much more frugal today than I was in the past. And again, it's just through education, just teaching myself stuff, watching YouTube videos and reading books. And so that's when things started to click for me and started to make sense. And then when I saw this post kind of recently, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I was in the same position. I was excited to show off a new vehicle, which is, $80,000 worth of debt for most people. Today, I'll probably buy vehicles cash. If I'm going to be doing it again, I would probably just buy one cash, but I'm in no hurry for that. I like to keep my money. But it got me thinking, why do we do that? Why do we celebrate everyone else getting into debt? Now, one thing is, some people are genuinely happy to see other people get new vehicles. That could be a thing as well. 2 is, we are not that financially literate as a culture, society, whatever you want to call it. I know for me, financial literacy was never taught in school at all. I didn't get any of that stuff until after I already had basically graduated college. That's when I started learning about all this stuff, financial literacy, which is investing and making money and making my money multiply, things like that. Yeah, I didn't have any kind of exposure to like any of this stuff growing up. So that's another reason a lot of people just aren't educated on, the problems of getting yourself in debt. Second things is we like to show off things that we do, right? Which for most of us, we think getting $70,000, $80,000 worth in debt for a vehicle, which, just saying this sounds crazy to me, even though I was in the same position, but that's a lot of money for a vehicle. That's typically a full year of someone's life there. That's not taking into account the interest, the insurance, the fuel cost, maintenance cost, all of that stuff. But it sounds crazy. The next thing is, as a society, as a culture, we're just told or pushed towards just consuming, and not so much investing. We're a very consumer-based culture, let's be honest. We import a lot more stuff than we export. We buy a lot more stuff. That's just how we are here in America. We're in a position where we can just afford to generally consume. So we praise that. And then it got me thinking as well, like whenever I used to post pictures of my new vehicle or basically things that I was getting into debt, it would get a bunch of likes, a bunch of comments. But if I posted anything related to the business, it'd get a handful of them, if that, right? So again, I think it's because a lot of people don't understand that, you know, building a business, going into debt for that is better debt than going into debt for a vehicle that's also depreciating over time as well. So again, I just don't think we are generally educated on that. Now, those of you guys watching my channel probably are. That's the reason you're probably watching a finance channel, because you are educated on that, but a lot of people are not. So now another thing that popped into my head as to why do we praise consuming so much, why do we praise going into debt so much? I mean, we literally have something to rate our debt abilities, our ability to pay back debt, credit score, right? We literally have that, which incentivizes people to get more debt so they can increase their number, right? Their credit score number, which is crazy, but we have that, right? Another reason I thought, you know, this could be because, you know, this may be being pushed from people of the higher level, so that way we can continue to stay in debt, so that way we can continue to stay slaves to our employers. Let me explain a little bit more. So if we continue to buy stuff, let's just say I'm employed, I have a salary. The closer I get to my threshold of my salary, so say I make $5,000 a month, I have a vehicle, $1,000 a month. I get another vehicle, $2,000 a month. I get a mortgage, you say that's $2,000, so now I'm at $4,000. I still have groceries and other bills, and let's just say I decide to get a boat. Okay, now my whole $6,000 a month is being consumed by stuff. So what does that leave me? That leaves me in a position where now I'm dependent on my employer. The more dependent I am on my employer, the more willing I am to do whatever they ask of me. Because why? I need that freaking job. I need to be able to pay my bills. I need to make my boat payment. I need to make my mortgage payment. Not sure what it is. It's a mama bird just telling me to get out of here. I guess she has a nest nearby. Thought it was in danger. Just a mama bird. Hear that? Now she's quiet. She might pick up again because I have to come this way. But again, like the point I was making is, I'm leaving. The point I was making is that yes, if we can get to that $5,000 threshold, where, you know, now all our income is getting consumed by stuff, we're more dependent on our employers, which is good from an employer standpoint, but is terrible from a consumer or from an employee standpoint. You're in a very bad position to negotiate anything, because if they don't like the way you negotiate, they can let you go, and then you'd be like, please, 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 no, don't let me go because I need to pay my bills, right? And especially if you're in a higher paying position, it's going to be harder to get the same type of job because there's not a whole lot of those available. Now, if you're in a lower paying job, say working at McDonald's or any of these lower tier paying jobs, you know, you have there's more opportunities available, right? There's always a lot more of those jobs versus some of those higher paying jobs. So it puts you in a really, really bad spot. And basically every piece of debt that you put on your plate is another chain that you're adding to yourself. You're binding yourself to something for a long time. And generally speaking, most vehicles today are getting financed for over 7 years, sometimes even longer. But anywhere between 5 and 7 years, you're chaining yourself up. And let's be real, most people upgrade before the cars even do. So every debt is a layer of chains, and eventually you get enough layers and it's damn near impossible to break out of them. So you're gonna have to continue to out earn your spending. But generally speaking, most people don't ever out earn their spending, because they start to earn more and they start to inflate their lives even more. So it's just a never-ending cycle. And so yeah, that's the reason I wanted to bring this on, because again, I saw that post, it related to me. Again, not financial advice, make your own decisions, but just wanted to quickly talk about it. since it was, since I did see it on the internet. Without further ado, be careful, be good, take care, God bless. See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.